Hey guys, it's Sam with another RizomUV tutorial, and this video is going to be another collaboration with Sierra Division, and the video is about the fundamentals of Texel Density. So without further delay, I'll hand you to our tutor, Robin.
Hello everyone, my name is Robin Mariancic. I'm a senior 3D artist and an instructor on a texturing masterclass at Sierra Division. Today I will take a stab at explaining a daunting and often quite confusing topic of texel density with some nice visual examples. First, let's start with what even is texel in the word texel density. It is a blending of two words, texture and an element. Similar to the word pixel, which is a blend of words, picture, and element. The difference between these two is mostly context. Pixel is the smallest element on a monitor or a picture, whereas texel is the smallest element in a texture. When we open a texture in Photoshop or Affinity, we can see the pixels. But the moment the same image is loaded into a 3D application and assigned onto a surface, its elements take on a new role and they become texels. So the difference is quite technical, and for the purposes of this video, we'll be thinking of texels and pixels sort of interchangeably. Now, what is texel plus density? Important part of texel density is 3D space units. This orange cube represents a dimension of 1 meter in all directions. Units are important because the texel density means density or amount of these texels or pixels per virtual world unit. Now let's imagine a plane that covers up the whole UV space. It will have a 32 by 32 pixels texture applied onto it. The plane in 3D space is exactly 1 meter by 1 meter. The grid you can see on the plane represents the 32 by 32 pixel texture. If we were to count all these small squares in one direction, for example this one, we would get exactly 32. And as you can see, all of these cover exactly 1 meter. So for the size of this plane and the texture resolution of 32 by 32, we will get exactly 32 texel density per meter. And now if we go back to RizomUV, select the UV island, go to the texel density panel, and actually measure the texel density, we get exactly the number of 32. It is also important to mention that this is 32 texels per meter. If you were to change it to centimeters, for example, we would actually get a different number. Now that we know that this plane is 32 texels per meter, what happens if we increase the texture resolution? So if we go from 32 by 32, for example, to 64 by 64, we will actually get 64 texels per meter. If we go to 128, we get exactly that. So the rule is that if we double the texture resolution, the texel density also doubles. The other very important part to texel density is scaling. There are two places where we can apply scaling. Let's start with scaling in a UV island. If we scale the UV island down, we will get smaller amount of the pixels from the provided texture. So if we scale it down this much, we will actually get about 2 texels per meter. But if we were to scale the UV island up so that it actually goes beyond the texture, we can get even higher texel density than 32 texels per meter that we originally got. But if we do this, of course, we also increase the tiling. The other place where we can change scale is the 3D space. If we scale this plane up to 10 times, we lower the texel density just to mere 3 and a bit texels per meter. And here I can again demonstrate that if we were to double the texture resolution, so right now this represents the 32 by 32, so let's bump it up to 64. And the result we would expect is the texel density to double. So right now this is 3 texels per meter. So if we bump it up, it should be 6. And this is exactly what we get. And of course the same applies when we make the object smaller. So let's say we halve the size, 0.5. We will actually get higher texel density. And it might not be as obvious in this case, but if you imagine that this object extends like this, we'll actually get exactly double of what we have here. So this is 32 plus 32, which is 64. And now for the hot question. what texel density should you actually aim for? And the answer is, it depends. It depends on the project the textures are meant for. For example, for a first-person shooter game, a gun's texture will be most likely very close to the camera, so it will need a very high texel density, whereas a gun in a third-person game wouldn't need nearly as much. Or an object in an environment that will never be viewed up close, but purely at long distance, won't need very high texel density. The actual number to aim for in a work environment will usually be just given to you. For a portfolio piece, I would rather recommend to focus on optimized UV space and getting high enough texel density so that your renders look mind-blowing. For portfolio pieces, it's not as necessary to have a very tight budget, but rather just show that you have the ability to properly optimize a UV space. And that's everything from me. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I really hope that the topic of texel density is much clearer to you now. See you next time.
If you enjoyed our video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for video updates. You can check us out on social media, Discord and our website, links in the description. And if you're looking for more RizomUV content, you can choose one of these videos on screen. That's it. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.